What's up, guys? Talking video might be weird, but I thought I'd get on here and talk about one of my, I guess, New Year's resolutions that I had this year, where I decided I'm gonna read a book a month. But yeah, I thought I'd come in here on here real quick and run through like a list of the books I'm reading, the books I'm gonna read. Some of them I have in print already, and some of them I have to get. So I just gotta get the actual like print books. So yeah, the ones I got here, I guess I'll go through and just tell you a little bit about them. This first one I just finished. It is Young Bucks Killing the Business from Backyards to the Big Leagues. And there's a lot when it comes to these people. It's basically who the Young Bucks are. They are Matt and Nick Massey or Jackson. Um, they are the greatest, if not one of the greatest, definitely tag teams in professional wrestling right now. Basically, their story is like them among other people, a few other people are responsible for pushing the boundaries and I guess revolutionizing the independent scene because I think with anything you don't really got to be a fan of pro wrestling to know in like a lot in most industries, professional wrestling included, you got like the major companies with like all the money or the major brands with all the money, and then you got the smaller stuff like the more homegrown, I guess, if you will. So basically, Matt and Nick Jackson, what they were responsible for doing was they made a living mostly outside of the successful promotions, WWE being the main one, because I'm sure, like I said, not even being a professional wrestling fan, you would understand that some people they're just the ones with all the money, but yeah, these guys, they decided they were going to do something different and created their own basically brand. They created their own movement, um, which ultimately led to them having a very important role in establishing All Elite Wrestling, which some of you guys might know. I'm a fan of it, and so I ended up reading this book, and then yeah, it's just really cool getting to hear their story and just seemingly how much fun they had. Like my main takeaway of this book is just hard work and dedication and struggle, but ultimately it just seemed like these guys had fun just traveling the world wrestling with all their friends. Just seemed like some good times. But anyway, that's that book. The next one, by the way, starting this next book probably today. This one is Never Finished by David Goggins, who actually wrote, I would say, my favorite book, which would be Can't Hurt Me. David Goggins, author of Can't Hurt Me, his last book. I learned about David Goggins a long time ago, a couple years probably now, but a few years, maybe like 5. But anyway, yeah, He wrote that first book. I heard about it on a podcast. I decided I was going to read it. And ultimately, this guy's just amazing. Like, as you want to talk about struggle, hard life, just not being set up with the best hand in life, and just understanding that and realizing that you gotta ultimately these types of books are my favorite in that they're I would call them self-help books in the literal definition, meaning when you read a David Goggins book or you see an interview or hear him talk or anything, it's just unfiltered honesty, meaning your self-help is exactly that. It's helping yourself, and he doesn't make any claims that it's going to be easy. And not only does he tell you it's not going to be easy, he tells you in order to help yourself, it takes work. It's hard, dude. Like, it's unbelievably hard. And when you read books like Can't Hurt Me, and as I'm assuming I'm going to be reading in this book, Never Finished, he as I said, he tells you how difficult it's going to be to break your own habits, and not only that, but through his honesty and the things that he goes through in his mental processes, he tells you the ups, he tells you the downs, he tells you, as I said, he tells you how difficult it was for him to get through and to get to where he is right now, where he has this incredible resume of being a Navy SEAL. He went through budge training twice, because right at the end, I believe, he ended up finding out, I believe he had sickle cell or something to that effect, and so they had to kick him out, and then ended up struggling with that. Eventually found his way back to BUD/S to train to become a Navy SEAL again, and this time he got through and he ended up becoming a SEAL finally. This is all after his original origin story of, being incredibly overweight, growing up in a not so ideal situation, surrounded by domestic abuse and mental abuse, physical abuse. It was just hearing him describe things, and that's another thing, hearing him describe things is and the one thing I love about his books is when you get the audio, it's incredible, because in Can't Hurt Me, after every chapter, he would do like a mini podcast and discuss some of the things that were covered in that chapter. And as I said, he's nothing but open and honest about everything that happened in his life. And I guess, without going into more of a spiel about how awesome the qualities of this, like, the archetypes and the qualities in some people, you look at people and you're like, dude, like, that's that's like somebody, you know, and extremely excited to be starting Never Finished, and that's going to be the next book I read. And so let me just move some stuff around here. Yeah, so next book, Never Finished by David Goggins. I would check out David Goggins if people haven't heard of him. Next, kind of similar in a way to David Goggins, would be this book is called Endure by Cameron Hanes. Cameron Hanes is another badass, really a world-class bow hunter, and the dude, he's just like a hard disciplines type mindset where you just get through things. Like, this is a guy that I don't know if he has a full-time job anymore, but last time I heard, he has a full-time job, he has a family. This dude runs at least a marathon, 26 miles every single day. He'll run before work, he'll run after work. Him, much like David Goggins also, which I didn't even mention that part, these guys do ultra races. It's like one of their favorite activities. They'll do these 100-mile, 200-mile races, and I mean, you do a little bit more research about these guys, you can like see specifically some of the things they've done and what they've went through and all that. And so, yeah, this is the first book I've read by Cameron Hanes. I think he has a couple more, but this is his most recent one. I chose to pick this one up to read it. So yeah, that would be Endure by Cameron Hanes. And let's see. So I got 5 books on my list by a guy named Ryan Holiday. Some people might know him from like YouTube and stuff. He's the Daily Stoic on there, and I heard about him probably last year, specifically I think around my birthday, actually, because I got into, it was either a little before or after I found out about him, but I started hearing a lot about Stoic philosophy, which I've for a while now I've been pretty into philosophy as a whole. It's just been so interesting to me as a subject, but specifically when I started hearing about Ryan Holiday, I started learning more and more about Stoic philosophy, which a basic rundown of Stoic philosophy is, it's more of, I mean, it's ancient Greek / Roman, which I've always, as far as like Eastern, Western, I've always, I guess, identified, connected, found Western philosophy more, I don't know, relatable, I guess, as far as like their, just the way everything's explained. But one of the best things that came out of me finding out about Stoicism and Ryan Holiday and all these different people was that I ended up picking up Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, which I try to reference every day because it's not so much, that's not so much a book as it is like a journal or a diary, which Stoicism, in Stoic philosophy, journaling is it's a huge tool, I guess. It's just writing things down, writing down your thoughts, writing down just, just getting things out to clear your mind and such. But anyway, back to Ryan Holiday. I have a few books written down that I'm going to read from him that I'm going to get soon. Let's see if I can remember them all. There's Discipline is Destiny. Ego is the Enemy. Courage is Calling. The Obstacle is the Way. And there's another one that I wrote down, but I don't have it in front of me right now. But in total, there's 5. And as I'm sure you can assume by now, they all have to do with different principles and different subjects and different ideas based in Stoic philosophy. And so I'll be reading those this year also once I get them. Then the last one I have on my list, which obviously this isn't 12 because there's 12 months in the year, but I'll get to that. But the last one I'm gonna be reading that I have on my list would be Atomic Habits by James Clear, I believe his name is. It's a book I've heard about and heard a lot about in different interviews and podcasts, and get a lot of good book recommendations through podcasts actually. But yeah, I've heard a lot about that book. I've heard nothing but great things about that book. So many people, like including Ryan Holiday and guys like Joe Rogan and people that I'm like into and I get information from and recommendations and such from, they've all said very good things about it. So yeah, that would be not the last book, but the last book on my list until I can settle on a few more. That would be the last book that would be on my list that I have written down until I add some more. So yeah, that would be my, I guess, reading goals for 2023, I guess you could call them. But yeah, anyway, quick rundown. You got Endure by Cameron Hanes, Never Finished by David Goggins, Young Bucks Killing the Business, which I would highly recommend. It's a very fun book. It's a journey. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Like, you read about pro wrestling stories and you're like, man, that is such a fun life. Like, that's so exciting to like hear road stories and like things that happen like behind the scenes and such. But yeah, got the Stoicism books from Ryan Holiday. Courage is Calling, Discipline is Destiny. I mean, I'm sure you could look all these up. There's a bunch of them. But I'm going to be reading 5 of those this year. Then we got the James Clear book, Atomic Habits, as I said. And then after that we'll go from there, because I pretty much have like my next 6 or 7 months planned out as far as the books I'm going to try to knock out, because ultimately it's not even like a hard a hard goal that I set for myself, because ultimately when I read, my main goal is retention, which is another reason why I like to listen to the book while I'm reading the physical copy. But yeah, with all that being said, those are my 2023 books that I'm gonna try to read one a month. So let's see how that goes. All right, later, guys.